If you just don't tap the table too much, Jack, because it's going to pick up on the mic if you keep tapping the table.
Okay.
And the whole time, the only thing people are going to hear is you tapping the table. We want to hear your lovely voice, my friend. Yeah. Make Julianna's editing life a living hell. Go for it. Hello, and welcome to Running on Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and beyond. I'm Julianna, your host. Hi. And this week, after we finished up the Cape Cod Marathon, and thank you to all of you who tuned in for our Cape Cod Marathon episode, and congratulations to all of you who ran any of our distances at the Cape Cod Marathon. We're so proud of you. Yay. I have with me today our director of the Cape Cod Marathon, the one, the only, the legendary Jack Afarian. Welcome, Jack.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. You're kind of the other half of the Cape Cod Marathon. We had Kathy on to talk about things pre-race.
Race administrator.
Mm-hmm. She's our race administrator and also our club administrator for the Falmouth Running Club. Yep. And you are our race director, but also our president of the Falmouth Running Club as well, too. Yes. So kind of like what we talked about on the Cape Cod Marathon episode, it's kind of intermingled. Who's involved with the Cape Cod Marathon and who's involved with the running club.
Sometimes I get confused, but...
Yeah, I get confused too, and I'll send things to emails that... I'll send stuff to the Cape Cod Marathon email about the running club and stuff about the running club to the Cape Cod Marathon email, you know. But the moral of the story is you and Kathy are answering those emails, so...
Oh, that's why I missed some of your emails.
Probably.
To one or the other.
Yeah.
But I have 4 emails now.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Drives me crazy.
Yeah, I think between this podcast, my other podcast... and all my other stuff.
What's your other podcast?
It's about a book series called Into the Fold. If anyone wants to listen to that, you can hit me up. But it's like a fantasy book series. Okay. But not related to running in any capacity. I think I have 6 or 7 emails collectively. Luckily, right now I don't also have a student email, so that would also be another thing added. We're done with learning things in a formal setting, which is great. But enough about me. Let's learn a little bit about you, Jack, and how you started running. Let's just hear about your running history.
Running history?
Yeah.
Holy Jesus.
Yeah, and how you identify as a runner.
It goes back a few decades. My goodness. Well, I started running, and you can stop me when you want because...
I'm going to let you go, Jack. You just go off, and if I need to stop you, I know how to do it.
I actually started running when I moved to Arizona.
Really?
Many years, 1978. You weren't even thought of then.
No, I don't think my parents were even married at that point.
Yeah. I just started running to stay in shape. And when I left here to go to Arizona, my sister gave me a book.
Okay.
It was a Boston Marathon book. And I said to her, what the hell am I going to do with this? I had never run a race. I didn't know what racing was all about. Didn't. And so I just started running out there. And the company I worked for, I met a woman there, and she and her husband were runners.
Okay.
And so they said, why don't you come and run this race? It's a 5-mile race after work. And I said, well, what do I do? She said, just show up. so I showed, like I said, you can stop me. But so I showed up 5 miles. It was a cross-country race.
Oh.
Through a golf course. At one point during the race, the sprinklers went on. And it was nice because it was hot. And so you cooled off. And then we got to a point where there was a fence, and there was a long gate that was supposed to be open, but it was locked.
Yeah.
So I had to climb over the fence and then finish. And so her husband this was in September. Her husband was going to run a marathon in December. And so we said, hey, you want to run the marathon?
So 5 miles on modified trails, kind of trail-like capacity. And then all of a sudden just marathon. Yeah. No in between. It's just hot to cold.
It was 5 miles to the marathon.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Why not? Go for it.
So I ran the marathon and decided never doing that again. My wife was there, and she gave me my hoodie to put on afterwards to get my arms up. I'm not doing this again. So, of course, next year, I ran the same race.
What marathon was it?
It was called the Fiesta Bowl Marathon in Scottsdale, Arizona. It was named after, they have a college playoff game.
Called the Fiesta Bowl?
Yeah, Fiesta Bowl. So it was the Fiesta Bowl Marathon.
Does that still exist?
I don't think so.
We'll have to look that up afterwards. Yeah. Anyone out there who's run this race or knows if it exists or not, you let us know.
No one knows about it. It was.
There'll probably be at least one person who does.
It was the flattest race course you could imagine. Flatter than
Tokyo?
Tokyo's Tokyo, but flatter than Chicago, maybe. I don't know if you can get flatter than Chicago.
I mean, we'll have to ask about. Have you run Berlin?
No,
I haven't yet. We'll have to ask Kathy or Aaron to see if it's flatter than that, because Berlin is kind of the one that's the most notorious for having the fast times and stuff.
Right.
Tokyo, I think, less because there's so many out and backs and things like that people are just like kind of deterred by the turnarounds. So, but I can't really speak to that personally because I haven't done Berlin yet. So I'll come back to you after that and we'll ask Kathy.
Okay.
But it's flat.
It's flat. It was so flat at the 20-mile mark.
Mm-hmm.
It was a straightaway from there to the finish line, and I could see the school that ended at a
you could from 6 miles away.
Ended at a community college. Yeah, you could see it from 6 miles away. So you're running and running, and I said, "Geez, I don't think I got any closer."
That's like almost. I'm sure Kathy has told you about the Tokyo Marathon finish where you get to the T and you see like the 1 kilometer to go mark, and then you have to take a left turn and you just keep going and going. You pass like the 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers, 5 kilometers to go on the other side of the road, and you just keep going and going and going and going and going, and you're like, where does this end? Mm-hmm. And you've seen everyone else is running back towards you, and it's so mean. Yeah. It's so mean. And it just feels like it goes forever and ever and ever. But honestly, running into the abyss that is the last 6 miles of a marathon and not feeling like you're getting any closer to the finish line, I feel like is even worse.
Yeah. And I was quite dead at that point.
Yeah, I can imagine if you went from 5 miles to 26.2 in one big leap, you know.
But I beat my goal in that race.
What was your goal?
3:30 was my goal.
Wow.
And I think I did 3:18. Yeah.
I mean, my PR is like 3:42 or something. So you got me beat, Jack.
Well,
I haven't raced for time in a while, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. So you run this marathon. You come back and you run it a second time. You said. Yeah. How did that go?
It was better actually. No, it wasn't better. It was worse.
Okay. But we just keep running. We're running these races and they are not going too hot. And we say, nope, we really enjoy running. This is a nice time.
Yeah. I had a better time the first one, and we'll just let it go with that.
Yeah. So you're running these 2 marathons, and what happened running wise after that? And how'd you make your way back to Cape Cod?
Well, like I said, I was out there with my wife. We had 2 kids out there. They were born there. And I said, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's enough. And she said, well, we're moving back to Massachusetts. I said, no, we're not. Mm-hmm. I like it here. And she said, no, my kids are going to grow up knowing their cousins and aunts and uncles. So I had
no choice in the matter.
Yeah.
And so here you are.
I came back here. Mm-hmm. Learned about how to dress for winter running back here.
Yeah. And that must have been an experience.
It was. But I kept up the marathoning. Mm-hmm. And yada, 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 35 marathons later, I decided no more marathons for me.
What was the last marathon you ran, Jack?
It was Hartford.
Okay. What year was that?
In 08.
In 08. Okay. That wasn't that long ago.
It was a while ago. And I must admit, the last couple miles of that race was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Physically, mentally?
Yes.
Both?
Oh. So we got to the finish line, and I was dead. They had chicken noodle soup.
Oh, okay.
So I got myself a nice bowl of chicken noodle soup.
Uh-huh.
Walked across the park back to the hotel. By the time I got on the other side of the park, I felt like a new man.
Yeah.
It was the chicken noodle soup. Did it. The salt.
It does miracles,
It's like, yeah.
It's like that chowder we have at the end of the finish line here,
We have the best.
We got the best of the best. We have regular soup too.
We do. I think Stephen makes.
I think he made a minestrone.
I think he makes 3 different types of soup plus the chowder.
Yeah, I know there's a vegan option. There's a gluten-free option. I think there's a corn chowder, a clam chowder. I know we should know this.
We should.
For anyone.
I think over the years, I think I've only had his clam chowder after the race.
I've only had like the minestrone soup that he makes. I just don't really like chowder, to be honest. Yeah. I'm so sorry. But it's just never been a soup for me. Yeah. I've just never been a creamy soup person.
Yeah, if you like clam chowder,
yeah.
Stephen Bird's the chef.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yes.
He's a good dude. So you finished the Hartford Marathon. Mm-hmm. And you're living in Falmouth at the time,
Nope,
that point?
I was not.
No.
I was not. I was living up in Waltham.
Okay.
Where I was born, actually.
Oh, look at you being
circle, huh?
Being a Boston boy.
Yeah. But I kept running races, but not marathons. And,
yeah.
I joined the Falmouth Track Club.
Oh, the Falmouth Track Club.
Back then, yes.
Okay.
I had gone to the Quarter Deck restaurant on Main Street in Falmouth.
Yep, it still exists. It's still there.
It's great. It's great. But you have to watch out for, well, I won't say that. So I went there.
You're going to call out a local and drag them through the dirt here on this podcast, Jack?
I was going to, but
local drama, causing local drama here on Runner.
So I think it was a Sunday night. I wanted to go out and get something to eat, so I ended up at the Quarter Deck. I'd never been in there before. So I sat at the bar, and there was this couple next to me who were runners, and they belonged to the Falmouth Track Club.
Oh, okay. Is this where the Yates come in?
This is where, the Yates, Bob and Maggie Yates.
Yeah.
So Bob was sitting here, Maggie was sitting there, and I was sitting next to Maggie, and she says, "Hey, you look like a runner." I said, "Well, I run a little bit." She said, "Well, there's a running club in town here." And she told me all about the running club and Mr. Courtney Bird. Mm-hmm. And she said, there's a Friday night race at 5:30.
Yep, the Coffee O. Was the Coffee O 5 at that point?
It was the Coffee O, yes. Mm-hmm. It's changed its names a few times over the years. Now it's just the
Friday Night 5. Yeah. Because it's not sponsored. I know at that point it was probably sponsored by Coffee O, correct? Yeah. I know it's had sponsors. So for anyone who is listening or watching, it's a 5-mile just recreational run that people sometimes use for speed work, sometimes use for socialization, just getting in a group run that goes up at 5:30 every single Friday in front of Town Hall. I think did it used to start in front of Coffee O, or is it always?
No, always in Town Hall.
Always. And it's, if you've run the Liam McGuire's almost 5-miler, it's that course.
Same course.
But it's a course that you would never know unless you live in Falmouth and have run it at least once. It's not an intuitive route in any capacity, but it's a route that if you run in Falmouth and have run here regularly, you kind of find yourself weirdly gravitating towards without thinking about it.
Eventually you find out about it.
Yeah, you find out about it, and then you'll just kind of find yourself on some of those roads sometimes, like little Quincy Ave, that little turnaround street that you would never even know existed unless you literally live on it or you've run the Friday 5. Mm-hmm. So a very, very niche, deep cut for Falmouth running, I would say. Yeah. But very well known in the Falmouth community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of people from out of town come when they're here in the summer.
Yeah, they'll come and run it.
They'll come and run it. So the numbers swell, if you can say that, from a dozen to maybe 3 dozen who run it. Or sometimes we've had more. Yeah. In the summer and Fridays.
Yeah, we have Ken Gardner, who is the leader of it currently. Mm-hmm. And rain, shine, hail, sleet, snow, whatever.
Ken might even have the record for running it the most times.
I would wager that he does. As someone who I believe grew up in Falmouth.
He's top 3 anyway.
Yeah. I would have a hard time personally, from the people that I know in Falmouth, naming anyone else that I thought could top him in the number of times he's run.
Carolyn Bird has run it a gazillion times also.
Oh, okay.
But I think Ken's 1, 2, or 3 as far as how many times he's run.
Probably a lot of time. Yeah, I would put him in the top 3. But yeah, rain, snow, sleet, whatever the weather is, Ken is out there running the Friday 5.
One of the last times I ran it, I think it was like maybe 5 below.
I believe that.
Yeah, And I was running with Paul McAdam.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there are certain conditions where we call it unsafe for me personally. And I feel like that rule does not apply for Ken Gardner. It's not a rule that he abides by, you know? It's just running is running.
Just get out there and do it.
Yeah. And for some people, you know, hey, if your body can take it, more power to you. Like I give you kudos on that. But for some people who have like weird body things like Julianna, we gotta set some boundaries sometimes. But you know, it's fine. You gotta know yourself. And it's all good. But so you start the Friday 5, you meet Bob and Maggie Yates. And then how did that lead to getting like more involved with the running club?
Well, the next Friday, I went over to the starting line to meet Mr. Bird. And he said, "Oh, welcome." As it turns out, tonight is the night of our annual cookout.
Oh, okay.
And it was at John Taylor's house.
Okay, I know of John Taylor. I think I've met him a couple of times, but not super familiar.
So I didn't run that night, the Friday night. I wasn't prepared to run.
Yeah.
But I went to the post-run.
You were prepared to cook out, though.
I was. Yes,
there you go.
Yes. So I went there and met some people that I had known who were used to live up in Boston area. And they were down here now. So I met them and I said, well, this seems like a good
group of people.
Semi-good, yeah.
and debatably good.
Yeah, and so I joined the Falmouth Track Club back then about, how many years ago? About 12 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe.
So like early, so like
2012.
2012, 2013. 2024. Yeah, 2020. Yeah, math is hard.
So
math is a challenge.
Anyway, so I didn't stay at that party very long. And it turns out that it was good because I heard the next day that John's deck had collapsed.
Oh, no.
Nobody got hurt.
Oh, no.
It went down and I joined the track club and
deck collapsed and you said, "Oh baby, I want to be part of this track club."
Part of this club, yeah.
Oh baby.
So I did.
Yeah.
And then a few years later, if we want to get to the Cape Cod Marathon.
Yeah, let's see how. So we're part of the track club. We're running some of the local races, more or less. Like I'm assuming you ran the Seagull 6.
Yep.
You probably dabbled in the mainstream.
Seagull 6. Yeah.
Yeah, where they. My God, my first year that I ran the Seagull 6 was like literally, I think a month after I moved up here from Richmond, Virginia. Yeah. I have never had my ass handed to me harder. I left that race.
It's challenging, let's say.
Oh my God. And just the fact of the weather for that race is always abysmal at best. I remember one year I ran it. It was windy at the start and then it started raining on us. And then halfway through it started hailing. And for people's reference, this is a 6-mile loop that goes around Woods Hole. You're within like probably a 3 to 4 mile radius of like a center point with maybe even a 1.5 mile radius. Like it may be 3 miles across possibly. It's not a big area for there to be that many weather changes in one 6-mile race where I was running like a pretty solid pace. I think I was pushing like a 6:30 pace.
Sure you are.
I was not out there very long, and to go through that many seasons in that short of a time frame was not okay. I was like, no. But do I come back and run it every year? You bet.
You bet.
Did I announce it this year? You bet I did.
So you were there then when it was snowing. Before the start of the race. It was pretty bad weather. And just before the start, the sun came out.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
About halfway through the race, the icicles that were on the trees started melting. And they're falling down on top of you. So you had to be aware of where to stand, where to run. I kept my hat on that day, my winter hat.
That race always...
Seagull 6.
If you want to run a challenging local race that does not have that many people at it, just because it is a local race.
A couple hundred people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's with a no-frills starting line. You get a beer glass at the end. Come run the Seagull 6, because you will be challenged.
Yeah, but it's a good early season race, though.
Yeah.
It gets you going.
It kind of is one of those races that you can kind of feel your heart rate spiking. It gives you that adrenaline rush.
After a quarter mile as you're going up the hill, the golf course hill.
Me and that golf course hill, we'll get to this at some point on this podcast, but me and that golf course hill have a known hatred and rivalry. Like, I ran it for the first time when I was training for my first Cape Cod Marathon because it was on the old course at that point.
Right.
And I take myself to that hill and through those Sipawissat hills, like on that back half of the old course, when I really want to torture myself, or like when I'm training for a specifically hilly race.
That'll do it.
That hill, wow! I've never met a hill that I've hated more in my life. I hate that hill, and it knows it, and it comes for me every time. It's like, we know you're here, Julia, and I'm like,
I think what they do is they raise the incline when you show up.
Yeah.
So it gets steeper.
The hill knows. When I get closer, I get to the bottom, and it's like, I can hear it laughing underneath. You think that it's like the sound of the cars going by. No. That's the internal laughing of the golf course hill, just like taunting you.
I could believe that.
Yeah, it's alive. Yeah. I'll stand by that. You know, you can come after me, but I know it's alive.
Okay.
But so you run a lot of the races in town, and you somehow get to the point where you're like, I would like to be part of the Cape Cod Marathon, even though at this point you've given up marathons.
I wouldn't say given up.
You're not really right. Yeah.
The Cape Cod Marathon was looking for a new race director.
Mm-hmm.
And so, a couple of years before that, there was like a 2 to 3 year period where there was a race director and then another race director.
And then another race director.
And
yeah.
I was approached a couple of years earlier as to whether I wanted to be the race director. And I was working full time then. I said, I don't have enough time to do something like that.
Yeah.
You need more time if you want to do it well. So a few years later, when I retired, they were looking for a race director again. So I threw my hat in the ring. Lo and behold,
they picked your hat.
Director. Yeah, they picked my hat. And I started making some changes to the course. The old course, which, we call it the old course. Some people call it the classic course, but
the people who call it the classic course are people who love pain. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, it was parts of it were very hilly. It was designed like 40 years ago when there wasn't much automobile traffic in late October.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot more. It wasn't as safe as it used to be. The police department didn't like it so much. I didn't like it. The numbers in the marathon were going down and down. It was, I think, under 600 people in the marathon the year before.
Yeah.
I became race director, and one of the things, they had some problems with the relay also.
Oh, yeah. To say that there were problems with the relay exchanges, and also to say that that course was unsafe is the biggest understatement I think I've ever heard in my life, Jack.
Yeah.
Because remembering me running, like even during the marathon, when it's like technically being semi-monitored by the police on Tom Landers Road. Ooh.
Dump road, as we call it.
Yeah. Ooh, baby. Wow. Yeah, are you still risking your life running on that road, even with a police presence? Like, granted, I will go run that road by myself, Jack, and I will take my life into my hands, but I fully know where I'm going, and I'm well aware of that. And like,
sure,
we make risky decisions here in Julianna's shoes. You know, I go and I run the Sipawissat Hills where there's no shoulder, and I know that. And there are certain corners that I go around where I say, "Dear Lord, don't take my life today." And then I just go around the corner fully with the intention of, if I gotta throw myself in the bush, we throw ourselves in the bush. You know, it is what it is. But that on a good day, that road is not safe.
Right.
And like those relay exchanges, especially the one that used to be the second relay exchange, the one that was up near the bogs at that like Y in the road.
Yep.
Oh wow, that was hard to get to.
Yeah, I think that was the second one.
Yeah, because the first one was at the ballpark where one of our relay exchanges is still.
Third one was at Chappaquiddick Grill.
Yeah.
And then the fourth one was down in Woods Hole.
Yeah, which the Woods Hole one was also very challenging to get to.
Yeah.
Like that was a really hard time to get to. Chappie not as much, but still it really didn't make the road because there's really only one road in and out of Chappie.
Yeah, it wasn't the best location.
No, and it kind of compromised again the safety of the runners.
Right.
So yeah, I remember there were a lot of people too when you changed the course who were like really not happy about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, some people don't like change, whether it needs to be changed or not.
Yeah.
And one of the things, you know, they were interviewing some people for the race director, and I said, well, if you want the marathon numbers to get up, you got to change the course. I knew a lot of marathon runners who just wouldn't come to the Cape and run the course because it was so hilly. They didn't like it.
Yeah.
And it was getting a bad reputation. So it needed some big changes.
Yeah.
So when I got the job and decided to change the course, there were a lot of people that were not happy about that. But,
I remember that.
Yeah, but it turned out to be a good thing.
Yeah.
And it's more along the coast, where if you come into the Cape to run a marathon, you'd probably like to get a glimpse of the ocean anyway.
Yeah.
And so changed it so that it would be a lot more along the coast.
Yeah.
We took out a lot of the hills. We had to keep Knobska Light Hill because you have to.
Yeah, I mean, that's an iconic
hill
/ view / vista in Falmouth. It's just absolutely, I mean, coming up over Knobska Light Hill and looking down at that kind of like little beach house area and looking out towards like the Woods Hole Ferry area, it's beautiful.
And it's a great
Stunning.
course. It's a great course.
We have a really beautiful course now.
It's great, and the start finish is different also, but I'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But the first year after I changed the course for the marathon, our registration went up quite a bit. Do you know how much it went up, percentage-wise? Take a guess.
I'd say like 200, like it doubled. I would say it doubled.
Almost 80% increase in registrations that first year.
So I ran, my first marathon I ran, Jack, was 2018 on the old course. Was the year before you started as race director.
That was my first year, 2018.
Okay, so
and my job in 18 was to fix the relay from the year before.
Oh, so it was work. Oh no, I knew that actually because I ran the relay the year before in 2017.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty.
Oh no, I remember that because I was like 2, so I was going from the ball field to that weird Y in the road up near the bogs. Yeah, and it was real hard getting home from that.
Yeah. It was...
And let's just say Bob Mulcahy did an impromptu half marathon because half of our team couldn't get to his spot where he had to do the relay exchange at Woods Hole. So
he ended up running 2 legs.
Yeah, he did a nice half marathon that day that was completely unplanned. So it's okay. Yeah. You got to do what you got to do if you're on a relay team like that. Yep. But yeah, I remember just how many more people there were because I did the marathon in 2018 and then I did the Chowder Challenge in 2019. So I remember there being a lot more people when I ran the Chowder Challenge. In
2019, yeah. So in 2018, when we were making changes to the relay to get rid of the shuttle buses and different locations for the relay exchanges.
There used to be shuttle buses, weren't there?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
So at the same time, I was starting to design the new course for the next year. The first year was just fix the relay, make it work fine.
Yeah.
The second year was okay, we're on the new course.
Yep.
And like we said earlier, a lot of people didn't like that.
No, they weren't a fan.
Yeah. A number of things I've done, people didn't like it. When we get into the running club area with the Falmouth Track Club to Falmouth Running Club.
Yeah, that was a whole debacle.
Well, it wasn't a debacle. It was a...
it was more of like an internal debate.
Yeah, there were half of the people... Well, not quite half the people, but a good portion of the people didn't want to change the name of the club because the history of the club would go away. I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
And
because it's not like the club itself is going away.
The same club.
Yeah.
Changed name to make it more inviting.
Yeah.
I had asked a number of people. I asked my daughter. I said, if you were going to join a running club, would you join a Falmouth Track Club or a Falmouth Running Club? She said, oh, of course, the running club.
Yeah.
And what I thought the club needed was a lot new members, younger members, and decided, okay, we're going to change the name. So we did, but there was a lot of turmoil surrounding that.
A little bit of resistance.
I got a lot of bad press, if you will, on social media. Like, what the hell is he doing? He doesn't know anything about this course or the club.
Yeah.
But we changed it, and we went from less than 150 members to about 370 members we have now.
Yeah. I mean, just as someone who's obviously involved with the club and does a fair amount of things with the club, I can feel that it's bigger. When we go to events and we have things that happen, or even just going about town and doing things, like, I know that there are more running club members just from a community perspective. And like when we show up for our local races, there are just more people there, you know? when I was working at the running shoe store. Like there were just more people who were part of the running club who I just like seeing walking around, and people who, and this is the message that you kind of just started saying and that we wanted to put out versus like track versus running when it came to the club, is that we're not really a track club anymore. We have one track workout that we do.
The Wednesday night workout. Yes.
Yeah, a week, but majority of our runners are road runners. Mm-hmm. And it is definitely off-putting just from like my perspective, and I think a lot of other people's perspective, when you think like, oh, there's a track club and you're someone who primarily runs like road races, like most of the people in town are. And they're like, oh, I'm not qualified to join the track club.
It's a bit intimidating.
Yeah. And you have to think like, oh, those must be people who are like really fast and like super, not that we have some really fast runners. We do have some really fast runners and some really talented runners, and also some really talented track runners too, you know, but track doesn't encompass everything. Running encompasses everything, like running on the track, running on the trails, running on the road, running like on the treadmill, wherever wherever you want to run. Running is running. Right. So track is kind of a little bit too narrow-minded, I would say, which is the message that you were trying to put out.
Yeah, right. We changed it. We got a lot more younger people to join, which is what the club needed.
Yeah.
And a lot of new ideas have come in, some from you.
The day I die, the day I don't have any new ideas, Jack, is the day that I've passed away.
Yeah, she's right.
I was already thinking of new ideas even this morning when I was running, you know, and I actually got to text Ryan to see what's going on with those videos he's making for us for the half and the 10 and the 5K. So,
speaking of the marathon.
Yeah, speaking of the marathon, Jack.
Yes. 2 years ago, 2 years ago, after our event, we have a post-race meeting with the police department. We were talking about what went well, what didn't go well. Most things went well.
Okay.
But it was getting to be not worth the effort to have a half marathon in Town Hall Square and have the marathon over at the Village Green.
Yeah.
Set it up one day, bring it down the next day, and build it up.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, the Cape Cod Marathon used to start at the town green area.
On the Village Green.
On the Village Green. And then the half marathon used to start in front of Town Hall. So we would have to set up the whole half marathon starting area Friday into Saturday morning and then break it all down and then move it and shift it over to the other area. And it was also confusing too because it used to start at 7:30 for the half marathon and then 8 for the full marathon.
8:30.
Oh, was it 8:30? Yeah. I thought it was 8. I could be wrong though. That's highly possible. But it was just very confusing and very inconvenient for everyone involved. I would say runners, spectators, race staff, volunteers. It just was not, the police, just not an easy dance to do. So
there was a reason though to have that half marathon in Town Hall Square.
Yeah, what was it?
The marathon has been run now for 48 years. I think the half for about 15 years.
Yeah.
When they decided to do the half marathon, the town wasn't happy that the marathon was taking up Main Street on Sunday, part of Main Street. So they decided if they started in Town Hall Square, they could go out Chancery Lane, not get on Main Street at all. Go down to the ocean, run around there, come back, and never get on Main Street.
So we would have to shut it down for 2 days.
It wouldn't impact Main Street, right.
Oh, well, some jokes on them now, you know, because we own the town on that weekend now. Thank you so much.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But, we talked in the meeting about let's have it all in one place, either Town Hall Square or the Village Green, and we're batting back and forth the pros and cons of both, and neither one of them was ideal.
Yeah,
and so one of the police officers said, this may be a crazy idea, but have you ever thought of Mullen Hall? Mullen Hall is an elementary school, one block off of Main Street.
Right behind the library.
Right behind the library. They have a gymnasium right there at the school where we can have our number pickup.
Yep.
An expo.
Yep.
There's a lot of open ground in front of the school for the runners to gather before the race and after the race.
Parking on site.
Parking is there. Same as when it was on the Village Green. There was a lot of parking available. Just about the same amount as now.
Yeah. But there wasn't like a designated parking lot for the Village Green, more or less.
Right.
So this one has like one that's like for Mullen Hall. That's right there. So that way staff or like race if people or volunteers need to park there.
Yes.
We have something that is like literally like feet from, or vendors if they want to park there.
Yep, the vendors
park
right there.
Right there.
Right. And then there's the cinder track. We introduced the kids fun run, and the track is maybe
like an eighth of a mile,
maybe an eighth of a mile.
Yeah, if we're being generous
it's
about
a cinder. It's at an elementary school.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty
not
small.
a big track, but it's perfect for the kids fun run.
Yeah.
And next to the track, there's a playground.
Yep.
So we had the opportunity to change it from just races to races and some post-race activities.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more family friendly. We got a lot of comments this year from runners saying it was a great family weekend.
Yeah, a lot of people came down and did it as because, well, what we've also done in the process of you changing up things, Jack, is moved it to Indigenous Peoples Weekend. So we have like a vacation day or two, depending on where you live. Maybe you have the Friday off as well. You have almost a vacation weekend built into it now.
Right.
So you can easily, for most people who work like a regular job or like who can swing it, you can make it into an actual vacation weekend down the Cape.
A lot of people do now.
Yeah, which is great because one, it helps the local economy, which is fabulous. And two, means that people come down for our whole event. They're not just like popping in for the marathon and leaving.
Right.
They'll come and they'll spend time at the expo. They'll come and spend time with the vendors that we have there, which we just expanded, which we can talk about in a minute. But I think it's a great move.
It's a great spot.
So, and I was really excited last year when you guys announced that we were doing that. And I honestly give it 10 out of 10 stars for.
That's great. It's perfect for us.
Yeah.
The Friday is a teacher's day, so there's no school for the kids. So we can have the tent company come by and put up all the tents. We can stage the barricades.
Yep. Get the expo up nice and early.
At like 6 a.m. I think Kathy starts it at 5:30.
Kathy was there.
She gets there at 5. I'm sorry, she gets there at 5.
She was there very early. I showed up around like 9, and we'd still have plenty to do.
It was lunchtime for us by then.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I didn't have like a specific booth that I needed to set up, and I'm just more or less an extra set of hands because like I'm obviously announcing. I'm kind of our tech person for the weekend, more or less, when it comes to like all the audio visual stuff, But like I'm not really assigned to anything specific, but I'm here to help.
Julianna has taken us from the dark ages of communications to where we are now. She does a lot of the announcing, social media. She's the social media queen, I tell you.
Our numbers have gone up a lot.
They have. And,
like we've gone up over I think over
what you do
800.
with social media is helping a lot with that. I mean, she's amazing.
It's the communication.
With what she does. Yeah.
It's the communication.
Kathy does a lot of it too.
Yeah.
I sort of don't do anything anymore. Don't tell anybody. Just between you and me.
Jack's been taking a vacation the whole time.
I don't do anything.
Yeah, you just kind of like sit back and you go.
I go to the office once in a while just to make sure, and I'll leave something there so
it looks like you did something.
Like I was there. Yeah. But Kathy, she's doing all the work there. So
yeah, Kathy's very good. She's very organized and very on top of things and very connected to people as well too. So yeah, but we have a great group of people who organize the marathon. Like
we have about a 30-member race committee.
Yes.
And I think this past year it was the best committee we've had.
I can agree with that. I feel like the communication was very good this year when it came to like interdepartmental, interperson communication, more or less.
Everybody
I felt it was pretty good.
Their job to do, and they were doing it very well. The volunteer teams that we get from the schools and from other organizations on race weekend, they've been doing it. And this year we've actually, we've had, you can cut this part out.
Just Jack clearing his throat like 50 million freaking times.
That's coming out.
That might be the cold open, Jack. You never know. I started adding cold opens to these bad boys. That's that thing with me and Kathy at the beginning. We do like a 30-second or less, like little like funny bit. With me and Kathy just being like, Jack would kill us if we saw what we were doing now. No. Lucky for you, I cut the rest of it out because there's a lot more of Kathy and I just shitting around.
I'm sure there was. You tend to do that when you come to the office with Cassie.
Yeah, I do. We get stuff done though. We're both like we leave when we've gotten stuff done,
Absolutely. I mean, you do a great job with what we want you to do. So.
Dude, I love doing what I do. I would do it for free anyway, and like I was working out like how much I make per hour, like for this. I was like, I think I probably make like 50 cents an hour based off of the thing. But like the thing,
I make 10 cents an hour.
yeah, I mean, I'm being generous about it, but here's the thing, like, you know, I do it for free. I don't need to get paid for this stuff. Like, this is stuff that, like, for me, like, the Cape Cod Marathon weekend is my favorite weekend out of the whole year. Like, I had a Chicago bib this year, but as soon as you confirmed in that it was going to be Indigenous Peoples Weekend again, I was like, no, I'm definitely
And that's going to be the same weekend going forward.
Yeah, so I'm not going to put in for a Chicago bib, and I'm good. I've ran it once. I don't need to run it again. We good. I'm running Berlin next year anyway, which is not our weekend, so we're fine. Right. So it's all good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we have a really great team for the Cape Cod Marathon.
We do. We're lucky. We have a lot of great volunteers here. Mm-hmm. We had more volunteers this year than we've ever had.
Really?
We've run out of hoodies.
I mean, I feel like we usually mostly run for the first time.
Yeah.
Wow.
We usually have a few left over.
Oh, we don't have any?
We don't have any.
Wow.
We don't have any.
Wow, good thing I grabbed Nicole one, like, when I saw, like, right after the race, and I saw, like, one, there was, like, a stack of, like, 5 or 6 left in the office, I think.
So next year we're going to get more.
Yeah. It's a nice hoodie. If you want to volunteer with the Cape Cod Marathon, you too can have one of these hoodies. It's a nice hoodie. We have, you probably have just as many, or if not more than I have, Jack. I have
a few.
Yeah, I think I have, because my first year I volunteered was the first year I ran the full marathon, was 2018. So I have all the hoodies from 2018 till now. So I got them in my closet. You know, if you want a hoodie from any of those years, the 2018 one's that nice, like not this color blue, but like a light, like kind of like baby blue.
It's North Carolina blue. Carolina blue.
Yeah. Is the color. Yeah. I love that one. I mean, granted, it has a lot of sentimental value to me too, because it was my first marathon ever. But it's just a pretty color too, so I'm not mad about it. But we do have a really great team. How many people? Do you know how many people are on our like staff side of the volunteers? Like the people who come to our race meetings and things like that?
Yeah, that's the 30 people on the race committee.
Okay, we got 30 people on that.
We have about 30. Yeah, it varies year to year, but it's right around 30.
Okay.
All 30s.
Yeah.
So we have people doing the water stops. Mm-hmm. I have to give a shout out to Ed Giordano.
He's a good dude.
He does. He's responsible for getting all of the water, all of the tables, all of the cups, all of the trash barrels, all of the compost materials out to the water stops for that half marathon on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Get it out there, and after the race is over, pick it all up. Well, we have great volunteers at the water stops. Ed has this 3-page list of instructions on what they're supposed to do at the water stops, and one of them is to leave it cleaner afterwards than when you got there at the beginning.
That's a Girl Scout rule right there.
And so, for the most part, the teams do that.
Yeah.
So it has a team that picks all that stuff Saturday, and then on Sunday we only have 6 water stops on Saturday, but that's runners get it out and back. So there's 12 water stops on Saturday for the runners. The marathon.
That's kind of a lot for a half marathon, to be honest.
Yeah. On the marathon, we have 16 water stops. So Ed again goes out there Sunday and does the same thing, not just by him. This year we had a group from the Wampanoag Indian tribe come.
Oh, nice!
And they helped out Ed at the water stations.
Oh, that's great.
And he said this year was the easiest year that he had with the water.
Oh,
because
shout out
of
to
them.
the Womps.
He said, "Yeah, thank you, Womps."
Yeah.
We have Ed. We have Claudio. Claudio, who for as long as I've been doing the race, he's in charge of the porta-johns.
If whoever has the job, and if they do it well, we just say thank you so much. You keep doing your job.
Hang on to him. He loves doing it. I love
that.
Saturday and Sunday, he's out there at 5 a.m. with the porta-john company, getting all the porta-johns in the right location where they're supposed to be. He loves doing that. We have people that have worked at the expo for years.
Yeah.
At the finish line who have worked there for years. So a lot of them know what they're doing. Every year we get a few new people on the race committee. Some people, have had enough. I've done this for long enough. I'm getting old. I don't want to do it anymore. Whatever.
Yeah. They come back and they'll volunteer.
They'll volunteer anyway.
Yeah. But they just don't want like a bigger role where they have to actually have responsibilities beyond like maybe handing out like bibs at the expo or something like that, you know.
So we have a good crew.
Yeah.
We have about 700 volunteers every year.
We have a lot of volunteers.
Mainly on Saturday and Sunday, but a lot of them do work leading up to the race also. But it's a good group. Makes my job a lot easier.
Makes all of our jobs a lot easier.
You make my job a lot easier. Kathy makes it a lot easier.
We try, Jack, you know.
So it's a good team. We're in a good place now, I think.
Yeah.
With the crew that we have, and you mentioned the location at Mullen Hall. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's great.
Thanks to the Falmouth School Department
for letting us do that.
When the police recommended that, I said that would be great. I don't know if the school is going to let us use that. So I met with the superintendent of schools, and she was 100% in favor of doing this. Yes.
Oh, I love that.
This would be great. And so I went to the principal of the Mullen Hall Elementary School, and she loved it also. And so every year, they get excited when we start putting up the pole banners in the parking lot. That it's time for the marathon. So they enjoy it. Not this year, but last year we had to go to the school grounds a number of times because we were just figuring out where.
Yeah, I remember you and Kathy going and like measuring stuff or like seeing how things were gonna fit.
Yeah, and so the teachers would come out and say, "Oh, you're with the marathon, right? This is a great thing."
Yeah,
they just love it.
I think
it's nice to be welcomed at the school.
I mean, I think what you're saying, Jack, just plays to the greater just fact of the matter that I know is true is that this is such a community event. Like everything you've just said is just more proof that this is an event where the feedback we get every year, largely on the positive side of things, which lucky for us this year and previous years has been largely positive. I mean, I started, it's not finished yet, a 6-page long Word document of all the nice things people have said to us so far. So hopefully we can share it with the volunteers because they should know like how wonderful they are and how appreciated they are. But a lot of people say like, hey, I felt like I got adopted into a family for the weekend. And it feels like that because the entire community just comes out to support this event. Like I've never been to another smaller race where there's so much crowd support. Like it's just people coming out on their lawns and cheering for people, or even like when just going about town. It's funny. I had this conversation with Ben, who I don't know if you've met Ben yet or not.
What's his last name?
His last name is Zamar. He's Nicole's fiance. I know you know Nicole.
Have not met Ben.
Okay. So Ben moved here last April, and he was making the comment to me that I am not the only one who cheers for him, because I cheered for him when he crossed the finish line of the marathon, like I did for everyone. So congratulations again for everyone who finished. I love yelling at people. Yelling positive things at people is one of my favorite recreational activities. So
we have a just to cut in here. we have an announcer that comes. He brings the barricades for the start finish area, and he announces the race. A couple of years ago, I don't know how many years ago
this is like my third year, I think.
Yeah, you started doing a little bit of the announcing.
Yeah, because I was interested in
as
doing
the runners
it.
come in, and now. I don't know, you do 90% of the announcing. Yeah, Mike
likes to announce the elite people, like the first and the people who cross. And then the conversation I had with the crowd last week was he handed the mic over to me and I stepped out because he likes to stand in the booth. I like to be out in the chute. I stepped out into the chute and I said, okay, friends, this is when the party starts. It's me, Julianna. Here we go.
and I told the announcer, I said, geez, you should go over there and take the mic from Julianna. She needs a rest. Let your voice
I
catch
go
up
the
to
whole
where
time.
you're
And surprisingly enough, my voice was fine on Monday. I didn't have any issues. So clearly I've been talking too consistently.
You're very, very enthusiastic when you're announcing.
I love doing it. It's my favorite thing.
A lot of people have come up to me, during the post races. I'm walking around just seeing how everything's going on. Who's doing the announcing there? I said, why? They said, she's great.
I did have a
just bring a lot of excitement to the finish line area, whether it's the first runner or whether it's the last runner. She's there.
We were there for the last people coming across.
I know you were.
Yeah, it's been fun for me to see some of the videos and pictures people took, especially our final finishers. Like even after the finish line was fully taken down, who like it's the sound of my voice is like the main thing in there. But even like when I don't have the microphone and I'm just screaming at the top of my lungs because I'm so excited that they finished, like it's just, for me, it's being able to celebrate someone doing something big. Like, I know what I would want when I finish a marathon. And like when I finished the Clarence DeMar Marathon recently, I made sure the announcer announced my name. I pointed directly at him and stared him down until he said my name.
I'm sure she did.
And I was like, that's right. And Scott Gelfie, when he announces the Falmouth Road Race, I make eye contact with him as soon as I can. And then I start pointing at him. And then he announces my name. Because you know you're going to announce my name. I announce so many other people's names, you announce my name. That's the exchange we're going to do. But like, I know what I want when I cross the finish line. And I think these people too, like some of them go home and they have a family, like they have the families or the friends that come out with the poster boards and like they have like, they're like screaming from them at the finish line. They give them a big hug. And some people, they just either don't have that type of family or they're just there by themselves. Mm-hmm. And it's nice to know that they are supported and loved and cared for and they did something
you do a great job
awesome. So I just want people to know that. I love doing it, Jack.
Julianna will be there next year.
I hope to God I am. I don't plan on going anywhere else, you know. And if you want to run any of our spring races, I'll be there too. We got a PA system now.
We do.
I plan on being, if all goes to plan, Jack, I'm going to be on the back of the truck for the Main Street Mile, and we're going to do some like interviews with the kids ahead of time.
We don't have a Main Street Mile.
Oh, sorry, the Surf Drive Mile.
Thank you.
And we're going to do some like kid interviews at the beginning to like make them feel like they're elite athletes to be an interview before a race. It's going to be a nice fun time. We just didn't do it this year because I had a race on that exact same day that I had planned like way in advance. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately that was that. But we're going to make these kids feel like they're elite athletes and they're special, you know, because they are.
Well, in our marathon kids fun run, every kid has number one on it.
Yeah,
so
I think that's fun.
They're happy about that. Having number one.
Yeah, number one. Yeah. And they get a little medal and they get a shirt.
They get a medal, a shirt. They get a pinwheel.
Yeah.
And they get an apple cider donut from Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah. We have so many. And this year we also had balloon animals and face painting too.
We did both days. This is the first year we had that. We're trying to bring more things into it. Like you say, it's a community event.
Yeah, it's a community event.
We try to make it very festive. We had food trucks this year.
Yeah, some went well. Some could have been left a little bit more desired. But I mean,
we had an ice cream truck.
Maybe timing wise, yeah.
But it's something that we're trying to do.
This is our first year doing it.
Add more things, and it for the most part it worked out really well.
Yeah, and I think too, if you're listening to this or you are a person who ran the Cape Cod Marathon or any of our distances, this like 3 weekends ago now when this comes out, give us your suggestions.
Sure.
We're always open to suggestions.
We'd like to get them, good or bad.
Yeah, we might not use them, but
we might not. We can't use
everyone
suggestion, right? But we know that right now we're doing things pretty well. But we can always do them better. Julianna has some ideas. Some of the runners have ideas about maybe we could do something a little bit different. Yeah. I'm sure when we meet with the police again and
they'll have some ideas for us too.
They'll have some ideas. But for the most part, last year when we met with them, they said this was the easiest race that they ever had to work. Yeah. It was organized well.
I mean, the police chief this year was like having a grand old time. He was just walking around in front of the finish shoot line like the whole time, just like big old smile on his face, just like enjoying the day from as far as I could see,
Yeah, and this is his second year here in Falmouth. So he started in June of 2023, or July of 2023.
So right before we
kind of last year before our race, it was the first one. So he came by Saturday and Sunday. Just wanted to see what it was all about.
Yeah. He spent the whole weekend with us this time.
Well, he did last year too. He spent just as much time last year. And I got to talk with him quite a bit, and he just loves the event. Yeah. To your point about it being a community event, he said this is just a really good, fun, festive event for the family, and that's what we're trying to make it. And this year he was over the moon with it. He held the finish line tape.
Yeah, for our winners for the marathon. And did he do the half marathon too?
He did the half also.
Yeah. It was just, I mean, that's what it is. It's a big community event that essentially celebrates, one, running in Falmouth, and two, just Falmouth on the whole. Just because, and I had this conversation with a bunch of people too, who, as we know, Julianna is the #1 fangirl of the Cape Cod Marathon, and I will harass you into running any distance because like, I can't run it. I'm like, we have a 5K. You want to do a 5K? You want to do a leg of the relay?
We can't run it. And you say, well, you can walk it.
Yeah, you can walk a 5K. You know, I'm gonna still be there at the finish line announcing. I announced no matter, like you said, Jack, no matter what place you come in, you get the same level of enthusiasm from me, whether you're dead first or dead last. You know, you get that enthusiasm. I'm still proud of you, but
Can you tell that she's enthusiastic?
definitely not. I'm just like dead as a door now, but. But like, I always make people like, no, I absolutely don't want to run. I'm like, then come and volunteer with us. It's so great to volunteer. And we had so many people, not so many people, but a fair amount of people this year who ran the marathon with us, gave it like a 10 out of 10 stars, but were like, the marathon distance is not for me. They're like, I'm so glad that I came out, that this was my marathon that I ran. Like, it was well run. It was great. But the marathon distance, I don't think is for me. But I'm going to come back and volunteer. Like, we had people who, they sent me Instagram message saying they came all the way from London and they ran the marathon. And again, like, the marathon distance isn't for them, but next year they want to come back and run the half and volunteer on Sunday from freaking London.
I've received some emails similar to that.
Yeah.
That they want to run and they want to volunteer.
Yeah.
So we've had people from almost every state.
Almost. We who was it? Kentucky or whatever the state, or Wyoming?
It was Wyoming, where the deer and the buffalo.
The buffalo roam and the runners don't come.
Yeah.
Don't come to the Cape Cod Marathon.
I think we've had 11 or 12 countries were represented this year.
Yeah. I know we had, I remember announcing some people who, there were either notes on there, because when their names come across on the tracking system, that I'm reading off people's names, because if you're running a race, how I know who you are, I'm not just intuitive enough to know every single person crossing the finish line.
I know many of them, though.
I know, if I know you, you get announced as a local legend, you know. So we had a fair few amount of local legends, and we also had Ben, who you haven't met yet, but you probably saw on our social media, Jack, who I screamed at. Because I promised to him that I would scream at him from all the way down. And Ben is a very introverted person, so he was thrilled to have me scream.
I wasn't sure how he was going to take that.
I had a conversation with him yesterday, and I told him over 8,000 people have watched me scream at him, and he laughed. So, you know, he's a good sport. Mm-hmm. So we knew that was fine. But, yeah, I know that when you cross over, there's a timing mat that you kind of cross over, one of those mats that read your chip, and it's all the way down at the end of the chute. And what will happen is your name will pop up on a computer screen for me, so with your number, so I know who you are. But a lot of the times there'll be little messages that are next to people's names that say, like, it's my birthday, or like, I came from this state. But it'll also give me where you're from on there too. So I know that there were a fair few number of people who were not from the United States who were running with us.
Yep.
So that was really exciting to see as well too. Did it challenge my pronunciation skills? Oh baby, it did. I'll tell you what, the people who ran the 5K, they had it coming for me. Like, I have that is the most challenging time I've ever had reading names off, was the 5K people.
I like how you said something like, well, you have to forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your last name there.
Yeah.
Or even the first names on some of them.
Yeah, some of them I was like.
But you do a great job. You do a great job. But we're lucky to have you announcing.
And like, if you run by me and you yell the correct pronunciation at me, I'll re-announce you. You know, I have no problems doing that. Mm-hmm. So we're just doing it on the fly. We're having a fun time, and no fouls here. You know. Yeah. And even if you come back to me afterwards, like even if it's like an hour after you finished and you'd like to be re-announced because I've mispronounced your name, fine. It's fine. No issues with that. So there's no rules, like around that specifically, right here, but. Right. Yeah, so overall, the race this year sounds like, from your perspective as our race director, Jack, being all fancy and stuff like that, sounds like it actually went pretty good.
It's the best one that I've directed. My 7th year. When I first got the job, I said, I'll do this for 5 years.
And yet here you stand.
Because I'll run out of ideas. But there are so many more things that we can do. So every year it just gets better.
My friend, you bit yourself in the butt by saying that, because like you got me and Kathy at the helm over here, and you think you're gonna run out of ideas, and now we're bringing Dory into the game, and we got like we got Aaron and Cam on this staff now. Ooh, baby, you are in for a nightmare if you think we're out of ideas.
No. Some of them kind of out there.
Some of them are debatable, but you know,
and some of them are. We're never going to do that, Julianna. You know that, right? So.
Never say never, Jack.
Right.
I'm gonna find a way to do live reporting from that. Where's the weird point on the half marathon? Is it mile 8 that people always?
The weird point.
The place where people always, you have to go up over the grass that people.
Oh, that's about 9.5 6.
Yeah, I'd like to go
Into the
report.
race.
I'd like to
You
go
could
do
do.
some live reporting from
You
there.
could do that.
Yeah, that's what I'd
That
like
would
to
be
do.
fine. That'd be fine.
Yeah, just announcing the people who go the wrong way, just yelling at them.
But then you won't be at the finish line.
I know, that's what I got to do.
Do you have like a sister that can be at the finish line and you're out there?
Nah, not with the same demeanor as me. Both of my sisters would not like to be on TV or like announcing things, so you know. But we could probably find like someone we could throw it to mile 9. You know, I think I could find someone who would want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be fun. So we'll expand on our broadcasting abilities and capabilities.
Maybe. It's a definite maybe.
We're working on it, you know, and I feel like the live stream went pretty good. I was checking on our numbers yesterday, and we have about like 700 to 800 views of the live stream, both before, like during and afterwards. And also because, so what happened with the half marathon live stream didn't happen with the full marathon, I think just based on how much of this there was, but we got copyright flagged because obviously there was music playing at the finish line. And we had to go through, and Ryan had to just kind of silence a few certain like timestamp areas, which was fine, and that's why you can view it now. But there was like a day period where YouTube had blocked it, and I didn't realize that YouTube had blocked it.
That's what was wrong, huh?
Yeah, because of the copyrighted things, because of the music. But the number of messages I got saying that they could not figure out how to watch the half marathon finish line, and they were looking to watch their finish, I was like, wow. Look at all these people who are like actually like, because we didn't know how many people were actually going to bother like utilizing that feature. And it doesn't cost, because thank you to the community TV station, didn't cost us any money. We thank you to do that at all. And I've just been expanding my audio video skills, but it's something that for me with where I was like took me like, I don't know, like 10 minutes to set it up and 10 minutes to set it down. Didn't cost us any money. So it's just like an added accoutrement to the things that we can offer that isn't really a time or money suck in any capacity. So, but so we didn't know how many people were actually going to utilize that. Sure. But I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, first time.
Yeah.
Very good numbers.
Yeah. And now that people know that it's something that we're going to do going into next year, I think people are definitely going to take advantage of it, you know? And we did have that one story that I told you about the gentleman at the 5K who fell, and then his wife was actually watching from home.
Oh, you told me that. Yes.
Yeah. So he was running with his daughter, and the wife was watching from home, and she immediately so he fell like right before the finish line,
right.
And just kind of tripped. Nothing like major, but he tripped, and it was the half marathon. I'm sorry, but she was watching the live stream, and because she's his contact person on like his Apple Watch. It contacted her immediately that he had like an incident, and it just says like incident on the watch, but she had actually watched what had happened. And so she was like, oh my God, I had a heart attack when I saw the incident thing pop across. But then at the same time, I was physically watching him and watching my daughter pick him up off the ground. And I knew that he was okay. Yeah. I was like, it's just kind of like a nice little bonus thing.
Sure.
Just a little kind of, you know, making someone feel better.
Sure. Something
that we didn't anticipate coming onto the live stream.
Nope.
Didn't anticipate that at all. But yeah, I think the race this year went pretty well. Any standouts for you, Jack, when it comes to things that happened this year? Like any big successes for you in the race?
I think the overall big success was it seemed like everybody had a great time there. The people who, a lot of people had PRs.
The PR bell, oh baby.
We introduced the PR bell this year. Kathy bought this bell from a company that makes bells for ships.
Yeah, it's a ship bell.
So we have this 31-pound bell, and a guy in our running club, Bob Richards, made the stand for it to hold it up, and that bell was utilized so much.
Oh my God!
Both days for all of the races. The 5K runners were using it, the half, the marathon. I could hear it almost all the time.
Even being right in front of the speakers for the music and announcing into a microphone,
I
could still hear it like the entire day. It was wild.
So overall, it was an event that a lot of people enjoyed. Before the race, the number pickup expo was right there at the starting line. They don't have to go anywhere. Don't have to walk a mile.
Yeah, which is really nice.
To the starting line. The start and finish line is in the same place for the marathon, the half marathon, and the 5K. All of them start and finish exactly the same place.
Yep.
Which is one thing that we can do now at Mullen Hall School. and the things that we've added, the food trucks.
Yeah.
With Dory, the food trucks, the coffee truck.
Yeah, Dory did a great job with the finish line this year.
The balloons that you mentioned, the animal balloons.
Yeah, the face
and
paint.
the face painting.
I almost went over there and got my face painting, but I just didn't have time.
I'm surprised you didn't.
I was walking over there, and then because for the weekend, Jack, I became like a low-key celebrity, you know, because everyone knew my face from the social media. So the number of people were like, it's the social media girl. I was like, hi.
I'm sure.
Hi, friends. So it's like.
Other than that, I think all of the races went well.
Yeah. Everyone I talked to who ran, like, I didn't hear anything really. The only negative thing I heard, which is something, again, that's completely out of our control, is that it's not a closed course and that there were some cars that were a little bit.
Nothing we can do about that.
Yeah. And I had this conversation with a fair few number of people, either on our social media or in person, being like, yeah, we're not a Boston Marathon. We're not a Chicago Marathon. We don't have the rights nor the numbers to close the entire
the police
route.
Won't allow that to happen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
We do what we can. You know, even with the open roads, the course is a lot safer than it was on the open course. It's a lot safer. It's a lot more scenic.
Oh, okay.
Because
yeah.
most of it is along the water. Sometimes you get a headwind. Sometimes you get a tailwind.
Sometimes you get both.
Sometimes you don't get any wind.
Well, don't say that, Jack.
Well, sometimes you don't. I mean, on Sunday there was
not that much wind.
Hardly any at all.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So there going to be days like that. But the course, I've gotten so many comments about how scenic the course is.
It's very pretty.
They love the course, and they're going to come back. So we'll have them back next year too.
Yeah,
and who knows what else we're going to do with the finish line? I don't know.
I don't know what else Dory and Kathy and everyone has planned. I know they definitely want to bring the coffee truck back because the coffee truck was a home run hit. That was great.
We're planning on keeping the numbers of runners about the same.
Okay.
We don't really want to grow it anymore. At the finish line, there are a lot of people there milling around, having picnic on the grass, and I don't want it to get so big that it'll just be all congestion.
Yeah.
There were enough people there where they could mingle around, go wherever they wanted to go, but it was a large enough crowd to be very festive also.
Yeah, so, and we don't sell out fast enough where it's like.
Well, we're getting there.
If we got to start a lottery for the half marathon, we start a lottery for the half marathon. Yeah,
we sold the half marathon out first. The Kids Fun Run got sold out.
I was surprised by that, to be honest.
We have 200 and maybe about 150 show up because it's a free race for the kids. Something to get them out there and be active and be part of the event.
Yeah, and to occupy the time. Like, you got to think, if one of the parents is running the marathon, the other one is probably with the kids.
There's something to do there.
Yeah.
And the playground is right there too.
Yeah. And we had, like you said, we had the balloon animals and the face paint. So it just makes it more approachable to have the whole family. And we actually saw a fair few number of families at the finish, like full families at the finish line. And I had a bunch of people cross the finish line with their kids. Yeah. Which, because we are a smaller marathon, that's fine. If your kids are jumping in, as long as you're not obstructing the other runners.
Right. Some of the relay teams do that also. They'll meet.
Yeah, they all meet at the end of the chute and then they run in together.
Yeah.
Which is fun, you know? It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, the people on the relay team seem like they have the most fun. You know, you're there.
They're running the shortest distance, to be honest, for the most part.
Well, they want to be part of the marathon, and so they can run a shorter distance and not be exhausted at the end. And they're there with their friends or family or whoever. Yeah, a lot of coworkers.
Like dressed in the same outfits.
And they get together. A few of them do. Yeah.
We had the pickle pack.
We did have the pickle pack.
The pickle pack came. The pickle pack said they were coming back next year. Yeah. They promised already.
Well, they better sign up soon because we sold out of the relay also. Yeah.
Yeah. If we got to start a lottery, Jack, we start a lottery then, you know.
Just sign up early. Sign up early and you'll get in. Sign up early. For the volunteers, sign up early. You get your hoodies.
Yep, you get your hoodie. You get your really nice hoodie.
Yes.
That I live in, you know, whichever one it is. But so going into next year, do we have any goals for the marathon for next year? Anything specific that you're kind of looking towards? Because obviously the last couple of years, like you said, we've changed the course, we changed the relays areas, and then we changed the starting finish line area. And now this year we've like added to the starting finish line area to make it a little bit more of a party, which we're going to expand a little bit more. It sounds like, and just kind of refine.
We're going to do a little bit more of that. Not much will change next year. Based on the comments that we've received from runners and from our own race committee, we have a meeting this coming Thursday.
We do indeed.
The pros, the cons. So we'll change some things. I don't see anything huge that needs to be changed.
Yeah.
What we're starting to look at now, though, is in 2026, it'll be our 50th anniversary for the marathon.
Ooh, we're going to have to show up and show out.
So we're starting to think about what we might want to do with that. We might get USATF more involved in that. And we're not sure what else we're going to do, but we'll do something big for the 50th.
What year is
in
that?
2 years, 2026.
2026.
Yeah. But for next year, we're going to bring in some nice weather to start with.
Yeah,
Friday,
of course.
Friday through Monday, it's going to be nice weather.
Yeah, perfect weather.
It's going to be sunny and cool.
Like a nice, like brisk and sunny 50 maybe.
Yeah, right on there. And it might go up to 57 by the end of the race.
Yeah, maybe around like noon.
So
it'll be like 57-ish.
Yeah, so we've already ordered the weather. So it's going to be good.
That.
Yeah, I do every year.
I mean, the last 2 years have actually been pretty good. I'm not gonna.
It's probably because we're at Mullen Hall. It doesn't rain so much at Mullen Hall as opposed to Town Hall. It rains more there at Town Hall than it does.
Well, I mean, that just has to do with the population that lives in each of those buildings year round.
That's true. Yes. Yes. So
that's more that.
Yeah, we have it in a good place now. We'll keep trying to make it better. But the numbers that we have are good now. Not too many, and there's plenty to make it exciting.
Yeah. No, I agree. And also now I couldn't remember what year we were on when it came to like the number of marathons, as well as if it was like 47, 48, wherever we were at. But now the wheels are turning, Jack, for what I would like to do for our 50th.
For the 50th.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kathy and I have started thinking about it.
I'm gonna start thinking about it too. You know, I think I have some good ideas.
I'm sure you do.
I'm gonna let it marinate. I might bounce a few things off Ryan. You know, see what we can do.
It's not gonna happen.
Hey, I already got Ryan's making us 3 more videos. You know,
he does that 360 thing.
Wasn't that cool?
That's amazing.
I want to do more of that.
So I don't know how that works. I'm not that smart to understand the technology behind that, but it's so cool.
It's just a specific camera.
Yeah, but
it's really cool though. It was really cool to like.
That's great.
Yeah, that you can play with that on your phone.
How many photos did he take? Like thousands of photos.
I think collectively between Kathy, Ryan, and
Sonia was at the finish line Saturday.
I think before Ryan trickled it down, he had like 15,000 photos or something. So I think we're probably with the ones he sorted through, plus add in Sonia and Kathy, probably around 15,000.
You know how many I've looked at so far?
5.
Maybe,
yeah.
Well, we're busy. What we want to do is make sure the prize winners get their money. We have to verify their address and verify the place for everybody. We've been doing that. We want to get the donations out to the school groups and the other charities that support us.
Yeah.
In the office, which Kathy has cleaned up nicely.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yes. We have to get that in order. So we're at that point now where, okay, we're almost done with that. And so we can start thinking about next year.
Well, and like you have a lot of questions from the runners coming in, asking about their timing, asking about the pictures, asking about like X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of like runner questions after you finish
Sure
too. So you're dealing with a lot of things for sure.
It's good. It's all good. It's a nice event that we have here down here in Falmouth.
Yeah.
On the Cape.
It's a nice time. Yeah. We like doing it every year. There's a reason I come back, and there's a reason that I was like so jazzed after I ran this as my first marathon. I was just so impressed. And as you know, Jack, because I got my Boston Marathon bib both times through the club, why I was so deeply disappointed at my Boston experience after, because that was my second marathon. And I had personal problems with the Boston Marathon. But the crowd support, let's just say, until like mile 13, beautiful. Cape Cod Marathon, wonderful.
Boston has great crowds.
Yeah, but only after you hit like the halfway point, though.
And Hopkinton, there's a lot. You have a couple of dead areas. Every race, we have a couple of dead areas in our course, but every race has it. You can't go 26 miles.
We have pretty views, though.
We do.
Hopkinton during the spring, it's ugly. It's a nasty time of year in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
It's
no,
gross.
no, it's not. It's great. It's great. It's nice spring weather for Boston.
Fine, go run the Boston Marathon, whatever.
Yeah.
I have a feeling next time I run it, Jack, it's going to happen like what happened the last time I ran it. You're going to be like, Julianna, would you like to run the Boston Marathon? And I'll be like, oh, fine.
You'd rather run Cape Cod, I know.
I'd rather run Cape. I honestly like Boston's my least favorite marathon.
As would you. You'd rather run.
You would rather run Cape Cod too. You'd be like
it's
Julianna, and you'd rather run Cape Cod.
It's a fun race. It's organized well.
Yeah.
It's a safe race to run.
It's easy to get in and out
The
of.
vistas you're not going to find anywhere. There's so many.
Three of my favorite
course.
vistas of all time live on our race course.
What are the three?
Coming up over Novska towards Woods Hole.
Mm-hmm.
Headed
Novska Lighthouse.
Novska Lighthouse. Headed from Woods Hole down Surf Drive Beach, coming towards Falmouth Heights, like as just that whole stretch right there, and then coming back.
And Surf Drive.
Yep, coming back over the bridge right where the halfway point is, but going back towards the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
That little bridge right there. Those are some of Julianna's top vistas of all time.
Great Pond Bridge. There,
I believe so. Yeah, I just ran over it this morning.
Yeah.
It's very. Today was also and also going over the Falmouth Heights Hill, in either direction is a nice time.
It's great.
So there's a lot of really pretty vistas.
Right.
And we tried to highlight that with our course video too. And hopefully, and it sounds like a lot of people found that helpful, which is great. We did have some funny comments from people who, because Kathy and I said on the podcast that it was a largely flat course. Yeah. And it's pretty much flat, which
it is.
It is. I'm not going to stand behind it and say that it's not.
23 miles are flat.
Yeah. It's
out of 26.
Comparatively speaking, Clarence DeMar, which I just ran, ooh baby, we got a flat course. Like that.
You just have the hills going to Nobska.
Yeah.
One way. And then you got that little hill at Falmouth Road Race that you go over twice.
Yeah.
That's
so
it.
We had a fair few number of people who watched the video of the course that we did. And in that video, obviously, you can see the rolling hills that are between like mile 3 of the road race and Nobska Light. And they were like, thank God for that, because I would have not have known that those rolling hills were there because you guys said it was so flat. I'm like, I mean, really, relatively speaking, that's not that many miles of hills. Oh. It's really not. But I think when people think flat, they think like Chicago, Berlin, Tokyo, like pancake flat.
You need some hills.
I mean,
you have to keep it an honest course, so you have a few hills.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I just ran Clarence DeMar, and like the elevation drop on that bad boy is like 700 feet. Yeah. And it's all rolling hills. Like, there's not a single part of that is not rolling hills. And I loved it. I like having the rolling hills. I'm a fan, But some people, that's not what they like. So I find that if I run on a flat course, like honestly, my most painful training has been when I ran for Chicago, when I trained for Chicago, and also for Tokyo, when I've like literally only run on the bike path because it's so flat. Yeah, you just have to get used to using. It's terrible. You have to get used to using the same muscle group the entire time, and it's just exhausting in a different way.
Yeah, and the way we have ours, you run the rolling hills up to Nobska.
Yeah.
And then what do? You get on the bike path, so you start having flat.
Yeah, and then you have a little bit of hills. Yeah. I will say, speaking about Ben, we were talking about his marathoning experience, and he was like, I didn't realize how much that last go over the Falmouth Heights Hill was going to get me. I was like,
really?
He also runs trail ultra marathons. I was like, Ben, that hill got you, but you just ran like up in the White Mountains, like 50 miles. Yeah. Like, what is the equivalence here? I do not understand.
The road race hill isn't much.
No, it's fine. People get all excited about it. The hill that goes up to the church coming into Woods Hole.
That's the steepest one.
Yeah, that's the worst one.
Yeah. And that isn't even that bad. So
yeah, that one.
Get the hills out of the way at the beginning of the race.
Yeah. And then you go over you go Falmouth Heights and you're like, whatever. Fine. And you go over it again, you're like, whatever. It's like, we're fine. We're fine.
It's good course, good race committee, good volunteers, good announcers.
Yeah, we have a good administrator. Thank you again, Kathy, for all you do.
Yes.
We like you a lot. But
you coming back, Kathy?
We'll see Kathy on you'll probably see her before I do, but I'll see her at least on.
I'll see her in about 20 minutes.
There you go. You see her later today,
Yeah.
It'll be a nice time. Tell her I say hello. I haven't seen her yet this week, which is honestly a surprise for me. Yeah. So, but yeah, I guess that wraps up our kind of recap of the Cape Cod Marathon weekend.
Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Jack.
I enjoyed it, and maybe we do it next year.
I plan on it. My plan is to have a preview and a recap episode every year if we can.
Sounds good.
So, but okay.
All right.
Well, thank you all for listening
Thank
today.
you.
And thank you all for viewing our episode. If you liked the podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and subscribe to the podcast if you are listening on your favorite podcasting platform. And we will see you next time on Runner. Thank you for listening to this episode of Runner. This podcast is edited, hosted, and produced by me, Julianna Coughlin. Brought to you in part by the Falmouth Running Club and the Falmouth Community TV Station. If you'd like to connect with us, you can find us on Instagram and on TikTok at Runnapod. And you can send us an email at runnapod@gmail.com. And our original theme music was brought to you by the one and the only wonderful Jeffrey Hutton. And keep up the great work. I'm proud of you.